So the next thing that we will demonstrate this time is this particular G Suite app, Google Suite app, which we call Google Forms. And this is so useful when we want to develop online quizzes and also for our surveys and data gathering purposes. So if we click this particular application, you will be directed to this particular interface. And as you can see, we are still on the same folder that we have created for our Google Drive demonstration. It's still the sample folder where we saved these files, where we created this particular Google Docs and the rest of the applications. So in this particular application, if you noticed, the interface is quite similar to that of Google Docs and other G Suite application in terms of its naming convention. So we can name our forms here, and then we can get the link later by clicking this particular button. And we can change the theme by clicking this one. So you can basically choose colors. For this exercise, we will select this particular colors, and I'm going to leave the other settings untouched. You can click the form, or you can click this particular icon so that you'll be able to get a preview of your form. If you click that, then Google Form will provide you an overview, an outlook of the public view of your form. And this particular button will allow you to take further settings that are useful to your Google Form. So if you click this one, you will see these tabs, and for this particular setting or for this particular tab, you'll be able to see the following checkboxes. Usually, although you can collect the emails, what we usually do is we allow um, respondents of the form to enter their names instead, rather than entering the emails, because some individual emails are not descriptive. Um, it does not really tell the complete name of the individual of the respondent. So we ideally want the respondents to enter their complete names instead of providing their emails. So usually, well, in my case, I don't check this particular checkbox. Um, you are seeing this particular option here because the email address that I am using to demonstrate Google Forms is an email that's under the St. Columban College account for Google Suite, because we have subscribed to the uh, full features of Google Suite. If you are if your Gmail account is a free or basic account, then you will not be able to see something that looks like this. So I do not activate this setting as well, because that will mean that other students who have not secured their official school emails, quote unquote, so far, will not be able to access the form. So to also make sure that students who are using their personal Gmail accounts can still respond to the form, I do not usually activate that setting. And also to make sure that the respondents do not make duplicates or do not make multiple responses, we want to make sure that they are only limited to provide one response. Usually we don't check this one. That's completely fine. If you proceed to this tab, you'll be able to see the following settings. This is where we show the progress bar of the form. This is so useful when the form is set as a quiz form, because the respondents or the students are able to track the progress or the remaining contents of the form. It's also recommended to select this particular checkbox if our form is categorized as a quiz form, so that respondents um, will get random questions as well as the uh, shuffled questions to make sure that they don't get the same flow, the same arrangement of the items. And also, we can put some message in here. This is when the form um, reaches to the last part or ending part of the form. We can customize our message, so we can simply say thank you for responding. It depends on the nature of the form, but for this demonstration I am just going to type thank you for responding. Right after the respondent is done answering or filling up data or information on the form, Google Form will provide this particular message. This is where we make sure that the form is a quiz. If the form is categorized as a quiz, you will be able to see the following um, additional options or additional settings. You can select this one if your form um, fully contains questions that for example, multiple choice questions, identification, and etc. However, if the form contains questions such as essays, Google Form does not have the capability of actually checking the essay in terms of depending on the contents of your rubric. So we want to make sure that uh, we uh, we select this particular option, right? However, this could also mean that students will get the scores except the particular item that is uh, categorized as an essay type of question or what yeah essay type of question and something in that nature. So usually, although we can do this because we can check we can check or we can review all the contents manually. We can still actually select this option because this will still provide students their grade except that particular um, item in which student will have to answer it in an essay type. So you can just put additional instructions in there uh, uh, concerning on the initial grade that the student received. I'm going to show it later when we demonstrate how to make quizzes using Google Forms. You can also, although these are these are initially checked, you can leave this as they are because this will mean that the students will be able to see the questions that uh, the questions that were missed or answered incorrectly. You will also be able to allow students to show or to view the correct answer for each question after grades are released. So basically, you can just play around with these settings. It depends on your preference. They are initially selected by the way, so we can just leave them as uh, how they were even before creating this particular form. For now, let's not make a form that is categorized as a quiz yet. Let's just simply make a form that collects data, such as the one that I provide when getting your attendance for our individual sessions. So we can click save and oops, as you can see, the form is asking for a valid email address. We can uncheck this one to make sure that instead of providing email addresses, they provide their complete names instead. Right, so now it's now gone. So we can provide a title for this form. We can say attendance or let's say Okay, so this is going to be the name of the form that we have just created, and you can, as you can see, the file is also named according to our form name, and it's copied here, so you can change this one without affecting the original file name. So we can put uh, anything. Okay, and we can, for example, ask for the respondent to enter their his or her name. And because of the keyword name, Google Form will automatically detect that the correct format for that is a short answer, because we are asking for a full name, or we are asking for the respondent to enter something. So the format is then changed to a short answer type. We can and we need to, most of the time, require the respondents, well, and also to make sure the respondents will really enter something, we need to be able to set this as required, right? And we can then share the link. We can click this one, send, and normally or basically what we do is we click this one because we just want to share the link anyway, and this is the common use of or common way of sharing or of sending this particular form. We click this one. This is an icon that resembles to a chain, meaning a link. Um, the link, by the way, is lengthy. Good thing though for Google Form, because it has a function that shortens the URL, so we don't necessarily need to use Bitly for this case, because Google Forms are giving us option to shorten the link. So we can just copy this link, and we will again demonstrate this using another email address, which I log into this particular browser. This is Mozilla Firefox, and we are going to paste the link here to test. Okay, and this is the progress bar. There's only one page uh, uh, on the form, so that's why we are seeing page 1 of 1. And as you can see, it provides additional information that it's required, meaning the respondents will have to be required to enter something. And uh, should the respondents decline to enter something and click submit, Google Form will provide this particular warning. Hence, we need to be able to enter something, and after clicking submit, what you typed a while back on the confirmation message uh, is also going to be displayed by Google Forms. So this indicates that um, we have already responded to the form. Now, if the respondent will view the form again, since we have already responded, Google Form will track you and will say you have already responded, because we limited Google Form a while back to only receive one response. And going back to our Google Form, right? Of course, there's a Google Form received a particular response. So as you can see, there is an informative feedback here stating that there is at least one response to your Google Form. And since I have responded using the name Markatungal, you'll be able to see it on this particular tab, Summary. This is your question a while back, and this is um, for the individual respondent. So if you receive 5 respondents, and also you also be able to see 5 items on this section. And this is the first part of using Google Form for gathering uh, basic data such as names of the attendees of your session or of your virtual classes.